All right. Hello and welcome. I am the captain, and today I am going to be, probably today and a little bit tomorrow, I'm going to be working on Trijam number 148. So, for those who aren't familiar with what Trijam is a game jam where you try to make a game in 3 hours or less. Sometimes you go over, sometimes you're successful. This will be the third Trijam I've done. The first one I managed to get in just in time. The second one took me a bit longer to do. But on this one, I actually have a partner I'm working with who's going to be doing the art assets, at least some of them, maybe all of them. I am not a great artist. I find that's one of the things I struggle the most with, but I think I'm a pretty good programmer. I'm not the best Unity programmer, so I'm doing this to like level up my Unity programming skills. I'm gonna be using Unity, VS Code, and hopefully I don't have to make any art or music assets myself. But we'll wait and see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So one of the cool things about this jam is the idea is to practice your design and planning skills so that way you can actually do the game art in 3 hours. So I've done a little bit of thinking. I haven't written anything down yet, so I'm gonna write down what me and my partner, me and my teammate been thinking about. Let me switch to my document cam here. Let's get that document can up. Okay, so the theme. Oh, that's a little fuzzy. Maybe it'll do. Oh, my keyboard's in the way here. All right, so this is. Oh, I got something sticky on my pad here. Maybe it was on my hand. Anyway, all right, Trijam number 148. The theme of this week's Trijam is Inconvenient Super Powers. Okay, so our idea. Oh, come on, focus, please. This is gonna. Please focus. Let me see if I can get this to be readable. Come on, there it is. Okay, Inconvenient Superpowers. So our idea for this one, we want to make a top-down shooter. So I don't know if you're familiar with Xanac. If you haven't played Xanac for the NES, the original Nintendo, Xanac is a top-down shooter that is just one of my favorite top-down shooters. So we're gonna have a player moving around on the screen here, and then we're gonna have enemy ships and obstacles coming in that you have to avoid. All right, so we're gonna have a player ship. So our ship has powers. So maybe we should make a superhero, but we got ship graphics. Those are the graphics that we're going with. And your ship is kind of busted. And so not all of your systems work at the same time. So what we're thinking is you got a shield, you've got lasers, and you've got a like big attack. Okay, so these are your three powers. These are our superpowers. All right, but you can only use one at a time, and you don't know which one you are gonna have. So there's gonna be a countdown timer. It's gonna be sort of a timer here that's counting down, and every time this runs out, you get one of your powers gets randomly selected. So you don't ever know what power you're gonna have. All right, so laser lets you shoot things, blow them up. A shield is going to be a thing that sort of orbits around you. All right, so it orbits around you. You'll have a couple of them, and each time one of those gets hit, it's going to blow up whatever it touches. And then you have a big attack that you use once, wipes out everything on the screen. So that's the idea. You have these three powers. Your ship is on a 10-second cooldown. I don't know, we might adjust that. 10-second, 5-second, every 10 seconds, every 5 seconds, every some amount of time, the power is going to switch on you. And that is going to result in it being inconvenient. So you never know what you're gonna get. Bonus if it's gonna, I want to do like a Tetris thing where you can see just what the next power is. All right. So you'll know what your next power is. So you can do a little bit of planning, but you might end up in a situation where, oh man, I'm coming into a big thing. Shields would be great here, but I don't have them, so I got to use my lasers. Or a big attack. Or you might be in a situation where your big attack, it's a waste to use it because there's only one enemy on screen. And the big attack, I think we're going to make it so the big attack, you use it once, and then that's it. So you got to use it within that time period, otherwise you lose it. Okay, so that's the general high-level idea of what we're doing. So let me think about the plan of how all of the programming things that we're going to need. Because it's a top-down shooter, most games have an aspect ratio that's wide, which if we were doing, maybe we should do a side-scrolling action. I want top-down. It might make sense to do it this way because most screens are this way, but I want to do a different aspect ratio. Also, I've never actually done this style of aspect ratio. So this would be like on mobile, you have this and you tap to shoot and drag to move maybe. So we're gonna make a, I think it's like, I have it in my Unity settings, but it's gonna be like 600 by 300 or something like that. Not quite like that, but there's a standard mobile size that I'm gonna use. Okay, so first thing, we gotta set it up that way. We need we're gonna have a couple inputs. So we're gonna have left, so inputs, left, right, up, down, and fire. Okay. So one of the things that always takes me forever is get these set up properly. So my goal is I'm gonna get those set up right away, get them connected to my player, and have my player moving around. So player controls. All right. Then I'm gonna need a timer. All right, so player timer. And I want to be able to adjust the time on it. So a timer with int delay. Okay, so there's going to be a delay, probably be a float of how much time the timer is going to do. So I'll probably have a display. Probably start out with just a number, and then I'll switch it to like a bar if I have time where the bar slowly runs out. Boom, get the next one. So my player controls timer. I'm going to need a power. I'm going to have a data type called power, which defines when you press fire, how that power works. Or maybe, so like the shield, I think when it switches to shield, the shield just activates and you have it for a little bit of a while. Yeah, so I have my ship. I have my ship graphic. I'm going to try and get some particle effects. When my ship gets destroyed, I need to basically remove it. Ooh, that's something I need. Down here, we'll have a little thing that shows how many lives you have. So player controls, number of lives, score. So each time you destroy a ship, your score goes up. So maybe a score, score up here. Okay, so then I'm gonna need an enemy type. I'm gonna need enemies. And my enemy is gonna have probably some really dumb AI that I'll program in where the enemy sort of like comes down. I'll probably have a couple different types of enemy. Ones that come straight down, ones that fly across from left to right, and ones that fly from right to left, and then another one that is like the bats in Castlevania and other games. So I'm gonna have those type of enemies. I'm gonna have enemies that go this way, that way, straight, and then ones that go straight down. Okay, so those are the enemies I'm gonna have. My player, I'm gonna let, you can move forward, back, like move all around the screen. I might limit where you can go on the screen. I wanna make so you can't go off the screen. I'm gonna have to have logic to keep the player in bounds on all of the sides. I'm gonna have to have collision detection. So if an enemy hits a player, the player gets destroyed, you lose a life, and then after a certain amount of time, it'll respawn you. So We have a timer for power. We have lives. We have the current power. We have a score. We need to have a timer to keep track of respawn. So respawn timer. Okay, so if you get destroyed, the respawn timer gets set. If you're out of lives, the game is over. So I'll need a game over screen. Play again button. Okay. We need enemy types. Enemy types will just have like some pre-programmed path. So there will probably be a path and then a speed. So the enemy will have a speed where I have a path set up and they just sort of follow that path. On collision, yeah, they'll have to have a type enemy or something in them so that when my player collides with them, I'll just do a check to see if it's an enemy, blow the player up. And then I'll have my shield. If my shield's going, it'll blow it up. So I need a shield object. I don't have the laser graphic yet, but I'm gonna need a laser object. Enemies, laser. My big attack's just gonna wipe everything out. Bonus, particle, bonus, particles for explosions. All right, so my first goal, get my ship moving around on the screen, then get an enemy ship on the screen when I collide. Okay, so session 1. Let's see if I'm gonna break this down into hours. All right, so I have 3 hours. I hopefully don't have to make any assets. I'm just gonna put stuff in. I'll probably spend some time between sessions finding the assets for audio. I don't think I'm gonna make audio assets. I think I'm gonna use open game art to get some explosion sounds and some game music. But we are going to have, all right, so this session, I want to see how much I can get done in 1 hour. Okay, so I think I can add player, add, so I'm gonna add my player, add movement, okay, add basic movement. Let's look at what I'm gonna do. Add basic movement. All right, so I'm gonna add my player, add my movement, add enemy. My enemy, I'm not gonna add movement in right away, but for my player, let's move this down so I have more space. For my player, so I'm gonna add movement, add collision, add lives. So when I get hit, I get destroyed. My lives go down. Then I will eventually respawn. Add lives. Add respawn. Okay, add respawn. And then add game over screen. Okay, so the order I'm going to do it is 1, add a player object, 2, add movement, 3, add a simple enemy, 4, add my collision, 5, add lives, 6, add respawn, 7, add game over screen. Okay, so my goal is to get this done in 1 hour. All right, so that is my plan. Let's see if we can do it. All right, so once I get Unity open, I'm gonna start my timer. All right, so let's switch to my face cam so you can watch me panic. Face cam. Oh, gotta switch off my dot cam first. There I am. Okay. All right, so I have my project open. I've got, let me make sure I can switch. Okay, I have my VS Code set up, and let me get my timer here. And get some programming in. Where's my timer app? Timer. Oh no, stopwatch. Stopwatch. That's what I want, so I can keep track of my time. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's jam. Okay, here we go. So I've already added my assets to my game. So we got a couple assets. I want to get my screen aspect 360 by 640. That's the ratio I'm going to use. All right, and I'm going to add in a new empty object. Oh, come on. Game object empty. That's going to be our player. Okay. I'm going to add in a ship. I think that is much smaller. That look like, yeah, that's tiny. I'm going to change my pixels per unit, see if I can find a size that I like. 32. That seems pretty good. All right, so for all of these, I'm gonna set my pixels per unit to 32. That way they all have a matching ratio. All right, so I've got my different objects here. I edit multi if I select all of these at the same time. What happens if I do that? I've never done this. I did 48. Totally works on all of them. Okay, I'm gonna start with 32. Arbitrary number. Okay, and I'm gonna add my ship to my player object here. And I need to set up my controls next. So you guys can't see this, I don't think, but I'm opening up my project settings. Yeah, for some reason it doesn't show, but I have my project settings open and I'm adjusting my axes here. So I'm gonna have 5 controls. And I'm gonna set them up real quick. So I got left, and in just a second that'll be done. I've got right. I apologize that you guys can't see what I'm doing here. Left. Also the A key. So we're gonna have right. You'll be able to use the right arrows or the WASD keys. So right will be D. Up. Gonna be the up arrow or W. Down. Down is gonna be the down arrow or S. And then fire is gonna be base or a mouse click. Okay, so I think I got that set up. Let's add a simple player controller script. Player controller. And in a second that'll load. I'm gonna open that up here. So this is the default generated thing. We want to make a move method. So I'm gonna make a move method, or call it calculate move. Calculate move, float x, float y. All right, so the idea here is there's gonna be, depending on the keys you press, it's gonna use this to calculate the move you're gonna make. And so at the start of each update, float here, public float vector 2. Okay. Oh, not float. Public vector 2 next move. Okay. So at the beginning of each update, next move is going to initialize to you don't move at all. Okay. Then we're gonna calculate your movement. So we're gonna do some math on this. So if you're holding down A and D, it's gonna like zero out. If you're holding up A and W, it's gonna move you up and to the left. Okay, so every time we call calculate next move, can I update this? I think I can. Plus equals X. Let's see what it says. Yes. Next move dot Y plus equals Y. So this is going to let us easily manipulate all the moves. And then finally, at the end of our update, we're going to call do move like this. And do move is going to actually apply the move. So do move is going to do this dot transform dot translate by our next move times time dot delta time. Okay, and let's add in a speed. Public float speed equals, let's try 7. We also want to multiply it by our speed times delta time. That make lowercase s. Let's make that a capital S. C# likes capitals. Okay. Now I need to when we start up, I need to set all of my movement variables. Private dictionary. So I'm gonna use a dictionary from strings to action. So I actually need to import system here, so I have access to action. So strings, I'm gonna call these movement controls. And when we start movement controls, it's going to be equal to a new dictionary. And I'm going to initialize them. So movement controls left. When we move left, this is going to be calculate move. Left is minus X. So -1, 0. Movement controls right. Calculate move. +1, 0. Movement controls. I'm in C#, so I have to use double quotes. Programming in JavaScript earlier today. So, Java, I don't know why. It's a bad habit to use single quotes. A lot of people do that. Up. Calculate move. Up is... which direction's up? Here, let's come check this out. I think negative is up. But I can never quite remember. Let's move this around. No, positive is up. Okay, so yeah. All right, so +1, movement controls down. Calculate move, -1. All right, so in graphics, rows goes down, but we're in like a 2-dimensional space, so it uses coordinate plane. Okay, so now in my update, I just need to loop through each of my movement controls and call their actions. So for each, what am I doing here? This is for each string key in movement controls dot keys. Okay, so we're gonna do a loop. If input dot get button down, this returns true. In the frame the user pressed the button. During the frame the user pressed down the virtual button. So I actually want to see if it's pushed. All right, so this is, as long as it's held, I'm going to do this. Okay, so we're going to loop through all of our keys. And if the key is pressed, we are just going to use that action. So then we're going to do movement controls on that key and call it. So this right here is our setup to get movement control. So let's see how we did. Come on, load. Unity's loading. Here we go. All right, so I can move around on the screen. That speed seems reasonable. Next, I need to get my ship. so that it doesn't move off the screen. Okay, and I actually want my player controller to be on this object, and I want it to be on that. I'm gonna be here, and I'm gonna attach all the things, so that way if I need to, I can add like particle effects and have my particle effects be independent of where the ship is, blah blah blah. Okay, let's add a bounds. Okay, so I'm gonna add a new vector, public vector 2 min, min, and then public vector 2 max, and I'm gonna set the default. Well, as soon as I go over there, it's gonna set something. So let's take a look at what our min and max should be. Our X, it looks like it's 2.5. I'm gonna go with like 2.25. Can't get all the way on the edge. 2.25, 2.5, and my min looks like I have 5 and 5, top and bottom. Okay, so on my player object, min is going to be negative 2.25, negative 4.5, 2.25, 4.5. Okay, so I set those values here. Now I need to make it so I'm going to do a cleanup here. And in my cleanup, I'm going to sort of clamp my ship's position. So this is all this stuff. After I've done all my calculations, I'm going to do a cleanup step where I just make sure everything works. So this, let's make a new vector. Vector 2. Why can't my brain work? Vector 2 final position. Going to be equal to a new vector 2, and we're going to take mathf.clamp. We're going to clamp on. I'm going to make some temp middle vector 2 position equals stuff transform position. Okay. We're going to clamp on position.x. Right, so we're going to take our position.x, and our maximum value is, or minimum value, min.x, max.x. All right, so we're going to clamp that value. Let me close that there. So that's going to be our y. I'm going to do float new x is equal. Sometimes it's just easier to have it on multiple lines, so that way we can add that clamp. Okay. Oh, there we go. Float new y equals mathf.clamp. I bet there's a vector clamp or something too. There vector 2.clamp. No. I bet there is, and I just don't know Unity. I can't be the first person to want to do this. So I bet there's a clamp that does it on vectors. I just don't know what it is. All right, position.y, min.y, max.y. All right, and then my final vector is going to be, I don't even need to do that. I need to do this dot transform equals dot position is equal to position. All right, so this will, no, it's equal to new vector 2, new x, new y. Okay, so this should, if everything went well, clamp us into the screen and make sure we cannot leave. Hit play. It doesn't look like it's working. It looks like it's kind of working. What did I? Oh, it is my X and Y. My Y. Oof. 4.5 is there. What's going on? Is my camera just like in a weird position or something? That's. Oh no, my ship, I moved my ship around and my ship's in a weird position inside my player object. All right, so my player object was doing, I think. There we go. All right, so now I can't move past the edge of the screen. All right, so I got my movement in. That was step one. It was actually step two, but let's add an enemy now. All right, so I'm gonna move my player down here. Let me add in an enemy. Add a basic enemy. Pretty sweet graphic here. So create an empty object called enemy. All right, enemy in there. I'm being dumb. I think I'm being dumb. That's okay. I think I probably should have made the sprite itself because I want to add my collision detection. I'm gonna have to do something stupid. Yeah, I think I did something dumb. Anyway, let me get this enemy rotated. See how my let's reset. Or know that there's like there's a hotkey for this. How do I reset the transform quickly? I just type 0. Reset. All right, so let me get my enemy, move it up here, and I'm gonna. Nope, that wasn't the right. Z 180. Get it facing down. It's gonna be a template. I'm gonna add in a box collider 2D. So this is gonna be I collide into this thing, and we gotta shrink that down. And then my player. Same thing, I'm gonna add a box collider 2D. I want this to actually be on. So let me add that to. I'd actually just detect it. I'm really curious. All right, so box collider, and I think I want this to be a trigger. I can't remember now. Now I feel dumb. I should have done a little bit more research. I think I want it to be a trigger, so that way when it hits, these things can still move through each other, but I just want it to trigger a script. That's really what I want. All right, let me adjust this box to be a little tighter. And if I was really cared, I'd probably do a different type of collider, that is. And please move that. All right, let me try. I'm gonna try. Oh no. Add box collider. Enemy ship. That's what's going on. Okay. I did a dumb. Alright, I moved my. I probably shouldn't have done this. It's okay. It's alright. We learn from our mistakes, and that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. So here we go. We got this here. Now that my player has a box collider, I should be able to, and I can never remember the name of the method, I should be able to use something like on collision, enter. Okay. So I'm gonna look it up real quick. You can't see my Chrome, but that's okay. On collision, enter, Unity trigger. All right. On trigger, enter, collider. Okay, so we're gonna try this. We're just gonna plop this in here real quick. And we're gonna do a debug.log collision. Okay, I'm gonna do a collision. All right, here we go. Let's test this out. On trigger, enter. No, that was not correct. Player, trigger, enemy, trigger. There we go. Right. No. Why are they not triggering? Oh no. On trigger, enter, collider, other. All right, so it's not triggering at all. Let me try switching trigger off. Okay, so they're not rigid bodies, so that might be an issue. I've done this Unity on collision, enter. All right. Thought I needed to make it a trigger, but maybe I don't. Maybe I just need to use this. I'm copying and pasting. Unity does these really, it's actually super smart. but it's annoying that you can't, these are not like sub methods. It uses reflection or something, uses some special technique to detect if these exist and then apply them. Oh, do I need to add? All right, let's try again. Oh, kidding me? Player. They're definitely overlapping. Do I need to add a rigid body? Do they not work without rigid bodies? Rigid body 2D. And I don't want gravity to apply. So I think we're about to find out. All right, I think by default, it adds in gravity. So if I hit play, these are gonna come falling off the universe. Yeah. And, oh, I just didn't uncheck trigger. I bet that's what it is. Here, let's remove. I'm clicking all over the place on accident. Losing valuable seconds. Okay, move component, let's run it. Why? I've totally had this work before. On collision enter. Called when a collider / rigid body has begun touching. I do need a rigid body. Yeah. Rigid body 2D, and I think I want to set it to static. So it doesn't have gravity. About to learn. All right, now I think I need to make it a trigger, because what is going on? Oh, I feel bad. This is bad. This is bad. Supposed to be a good program. Let's try this. On collision there. Trigger. Please, something. Something work, please. Do I just have, no, there's just no messages coming through. This is really annoying. Kinematic, is that what I need? Kinematic. Is trigger. Is trigger. Oh no, I don't know why my box colliders aren't working. This is incredibly frustrating. Oh, these need to be collider 2Ds. I copied the one for the non 3D ones. Okay, or the non. I copied the. That has to be it. It was the wrong method signature. So in a 3D game, I think those would have worked. Okay. I think. Now I'm all mixed up. Script on collision, enter the message parameter has to be. Okay. Giving me some hints this time. 2D. 2D. I should probably install a plugin that will automatically give me those. Wasting so much freaking time. There we go. All right, so I had it. I think I had it right the first time. Where it needs to be a trigger. How happens if I remove it? Do I need a rigid body is the question. And I probably have on collision enter wrong or something. All right, I do need a rigid body. Notice it's not getting triggered now. Okay, so I need these to be triggers. I need to study this system a little bit better. I'll try kinematic. I'll try static first. I don't know what the difference is. All right, so I think they need to be kinematic. And or dynamic. I think the static one just makes it so that rigid bodies make it so you can have physics applied to stuff. Okay. All right, so my trigger is working. Collision's not working. I don't know if I need that. Let's see. Collision, collider, 2D. Looking at the instructions on the Unity website real quick, just to see if I can understand a little bit better. Collider 2D, on collision, enter 2D, takes in a collision 2D object. I think if I didn't have trigger selected, this would work, but we're gonna go with trigger. I'm not 100% sure why, but I know the code is running. And what we want to do, other is the enemy ship. So what I want to do is I want to check. I'm going to create a new script, attach it to my enemy. So it's going to be enemy controller. What we're going to do is we're going to say if the thing we're colliding into is an enemy, then we destroy. And by destroy, I mean just move ourselves, hide ourselves, set ourselves aside, and start a timer that will respawn us. All right, so I have a script called enemy controller. It's attached to this. And then my player now, I can do other.get. Is there a has component? No. Get component. And I can say enemy controller. And this will return a null value. I'm going to say enemy controller enemy is equal to this thing. Get this debug. Say if enemy. Can I do that in C#? Debug .log. That might be dangerous. I know it returns null, so it is equal to null. And we'll test this just to make sure this is working. What did I do wrong? All right. Oh, is not equal to null. Okay. So if we hit an enemy, we blow me up. This is because then we can have power-ups, and so be like, if I hit a power-up, blow me up. Okay. So I'm gonna write a method here called public void blow up. And we're gonna call blow up. All right, this will blow me up. And let's write that code. So blow up. I'm gonna have a few things. I want to make it so that if we're blown up, we cannot type any controls in, so we're disabling the player. So we're gonna do public float respawn at. It's gonna be the time we respawn. And by default, it's gonna be a negative number. Now we're gonna have a public float respawn delay equals, and we'll set it to 5 seconds. What we probably want to do is we want to bring our character back and have it flashing, so we have like a damage boost when we come back into play. If there's enemies, it gives us a little bit of time, but we're just gonna have a respawn delay real quick. And so if input button and respawn at is less than 0. So yeah, the only time we can press buttons is if we have respawn. So we're gonna have a little bit of a encoding that says if respawn is a negative number, respawn at, that means that we're currently alive. So do a little hack there. So when we get blown up, respawn at is going to be equal to the current time plus the respawn delay. So we're going to set that up, and then we're going to move ourselves into the void. We're going to move our ship so that it is not on the screen. Oh, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just disable my sprite. Even better. No, because then my rigid body and stuff. I'm just going to move myself off the screen because that's the lazy man. Lazy.transform.position equal to new vector 2 minus 500. I'm just going to move ourselves into a place that is super far away. Then I need to add in public void respawn. I have a little method that when our timer, this will be something we do in cleanup, that if respawn at is greater than 0, so we're not negative, and respawn at is less than the current time, then we're going to respawn ourselves. Then we're going to call respawn. Okay, so if enough time has passed, we're going to go ahead and respawn ourselves. What's next? So when to respawn ourselves, we are going to set our position to like a starting position. So I'm going to create something that we can change later. Public vector to starting position. We're going to set this to a new vector 2. And I want it to be in the center of the screen at the bottom. So this is going to be 0, and then I think it's going to be min.y. Oh, we got to do this when we start. I'm just going to set it in Unity real quick. So if I put it here, it's going to always reset it. So I wanted it to be based off our max and min, but I like that idea. I'm going to do it here. This is where a lot of my time gets wasted, is me trying to figure out what the hell I want to do. New vector 2 centered, and so I might as well make this private, since if we change it, it just gets reset when the game starts anyway. Max dot so center bottom. Okay, and we might change that later. All right, so when we respawn, this dot transform dot position, it's going to be equal to starting position. All right, so we move ourselves to the starting position. Respawn at gets set to a negative value, so -1. I think we're good. I think we'll blow up, and after a second we'll come back. Let's try it. Let's see what we did. Okay, so I'm at 32 minutes, so I think I'm doing pretty good. Gonna have to add lives next. Well, I don't like that it went there. Okay, now I want y.min. So it's gonna be max. I know what's happening. So I'm putting myself somewhere crazy, but then I'm clamping myself here. So I need to only do this. So if respawn at is greater than 0, let's see. So if we get here, I can probably be smart about this, but we're going to do if respawn at is less than -1 or less than 0. We're going to do this. I'll just put an else here. Else if. Okay. So I'm hoping this doesn't come back to bite me, as I didn't think through this enough, but let's see. Now we won't clamp. We won't update. We actually can't update our position here, so I don't even need to check for the movement anymore, because it won't. Oh, and do move. It'll actually do move. Never mind. I thought I was smarter than I am. All right, still can't move off. I blow up. I'm gone. and I respawn. I blow up, I'm gone, and I respawn. Okay. All right, making progress. 34 minutes in. I'm gonna add lives. Oh, I should have supposed to add lives first. I added respawn, add lives, and I gotta add a game over screen. And then we'll have, and the quote unquote, a game. So public int lives, and we'll give ourselves 3 lives. And we're gonna do respawn. When we blow up, lives minus minus. And if lives are less than 3, 2, 1, every time we die, if lives are less than equal to 0, respawn at gonna be load.infinity positive. So we'll just never respawn. Okay. I'll blow up and then a game over screen will happen. So let's try it. And then the game over screen will show up when we click restart. It'll reset our player. Alright, so we move around. Fancy. Got my lives set to 3. Boom. Lives go down to 2. Lives go down to 1. 3. Lives go to infinity, and we should just never respawn. Okay. All right, let's add a little game over screen. So we're gonna do create empty. Actually, I want to make a canvas for my game over screen. Create UI canvas, and we're gonna call this game. Rename game over screen, and let's add a reference to this to our player controller. If I was better, I'd create like a game controller script. Maybe I will. Okay. All right, you can hear me. My mouse stopped working. Something weird happened. My camera's, I'm gonna reactivate that. All right, lost precious seconds. I'm going to create a new script just called my game controller. It's often nice to have something that can like control lots of things. So I'm gonna create a game controller. I'm gonna add a game controller script, and this is just gonna, I'm just gonna copy it. This is gonna have like my player, my game over screen, all that stuff associated with it. So I had just like some gross global thing. When I'm prototyping, I will do this frequently. When I'm doing legitimate programming, this is just like a bad habit to have, but it's a fast way to get things done. So my game controller, I'm just gonna do public static game controller instance, and so this will let me just get anything from anywhere. And game controller instance has a get on. I think C# is cool that I can just say that this is gonna be a function that says turn this. Oh no, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I can't make this a property, but instead I'm just gonna do this dot, or not this dot, game controller dot instance is equal to this. When the game starts up, it sets it, and then I'm gonna put a little check in here. If before I set if game controller dot instance is not equal to null, I'm gonna throw an exception so I know something's up. Throw new exception. Game controller could be a single object, but more than. Okay. All right, and this this doesn't really do a whole lot. This is just going to be a thing to where I can quickly grab a bunch of stuff I can link to. And the things I want to link to are my game over screen. So public canvas game over screen. Public player controller player. So that way I can just get those things if I need to. This will also keep track of like all the enemies on the screen probably. I'm at 39 minutes. Okay, so my game controller's there. I'm gonna add my game over screen. I'm gonna add my player. And let me add some text. I want this to scale with screen size. My target screen size. I don't know how much this actually matters. The size here matters, but that it says 360 by 640. I don't think it matters. I think this will actually scale based off of the maximum size of your resolution, which I think is great. I don't like that. Oh, added a panel into it. I don't like panels. Goodbye. All right, game over screen. We're just gonna create some text, and I'll go find Unity by default has text, and I'm gonna make this just say game, and I want this to take up. I'm gonna have this stretch left to right. It'll make it easy. I'll actually have it stretch everything, and I'm gonna make it in the exact center. So whatever your screen is, it's center. So we're gonna make this boom center. Make it not horrific colored. We'll do something nice with this soon. 36. All right. So game over. And I gotta add a button. Create UI button. And get this to center nicely. All right. Maybe I should have a panel. Button. Play again button. And we're gonna make this button say text. Play again. And then we're gonna have this be again centered, but center. So relative to the center. Okay. And then I can have the top. I think I'm gonna do something dumb here. Yeah, it's about to be. All right, so stretch across my position. I want it to be relative to this object. So I think I'm gonna create a child object here called something child. I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but I want these things to be inside of the child. The child is going to stretch to fill up the whole thing. Okay, and then our text inside is gonna fill up that whole thing and center. But our button, I think I'm just being dumb now. Button, center. All right. Width, 100. Okay, I'm just gonna feel like I'm just being dumb. I don't know at this point. Why won't before? Okay. Play again's there. And now I want to make it so that my play again button, I'm gonna have a action here. My game controller is gonna have a public void restart, and that's gonna trigger all of the things to restart. Game controller. Did not hit save. Did not hit save. Come back. Wait for it to load. Come on, come on. Really? Okay. Here we go. And game controller. Restart. Okay. We got the restart button in there. So we've died enough times. We're going to restart. Or call restart. All right. So a restart player. We're going to add a restart method to our player, which will restart it. And then our game over screen.set active game object. Set active false. So deactivate that when our game starts up. Game over screen.game object that's set active false. All right. So when the game starts, that screen will be deactivated. I'm gonna go ahead and deactivate it here. Oh, I'm zoomed in place. Is this a real error? Yes, I haven't written restart yet. So in player controller, I'm gonna add in a restart. Public void restart. And our restart, I think it's just gonna set our player to be at, let's create a variable called starting lives. Public int starting lives equals 3. That way we can change it later if we decide. Or we could easily make like a easy, medium, hard setting or something. Restart. This dot lives equals starting lives. This dot respawn equals -1, and then we'll call respawn. That should go ahead and, oh, don't need to have this here. That's going to put us in the bottom of the screen. When we start, let's just call restart. It's here. Okay. 45 minutes in. Okay, here we go. Argument input button submit is not. Oh, the event system wants us to set these things. So what I usually do is I just create, and this is probably dumb, but there's a bunch of default things that I accidentally took out. And I need to go add in my project settings. I need to update my input controller. I'm gonna add an extra input just called none. That just does nothing to make this thing work. So this is actually a thing that will make it so that way you can like tab and use arrow keys to move in your menu. So like if you're making for a console, it would make navigating your menu easier. Okay, so let's check it out. Player dies once, twice, 3 times, and I need to actually make the game over screen show up. All right, so blow up. I need to do game controller dot instance dot. What am I doing here? Game over screen dot game object dot set active. That'll make the game over screen show up. And maybe we want to do a delay and put it during our respawn, but it might be nice to blow up and then get a game over screen, but this is going to make it show up immediately when you die the last time, which is not. And here we go, last time. Game over. Click play again, I respawn. All right. Okay. I'm really happy with that. I estimated pretty accurately. 48 minutes. I'm at 48:50, so about 49 minutes, about 50 minutes to finish that first set of goals that I had. I knew I'd run into some trouble somewhere, so I ran into a little bit of trouble. I'm pausing here. All right, so here's our time. 49 minutes, 3 seconds so far in my first session. So I got my game set up. Got the game that me and my partner are making. So my partner's doing the graphics. Got the game set up so the ship can move around the screen. I can blow up or crash into enemies. I don't have an animation yet, but I want to make something playable first. So I have my framework. So I blow up, game over screen. I can click play again. I have a number of lives. So I'm pretty happy with where I managed to get in 49 minutes. It's not the most fun game, but it has like a game loop cycle. Okay, so I'm actually gonna stop here. I'm gonna take a break. Think, I like to step away for an hour or 2 or 3 or whatever it's gonna be. Get my groceries delivered. So probably we'll come back after my groceries get delivered, but let it sort of mull and process in the back of my brain. I'm gonna show it to my partner, get their thoughts, get their feedback, and I'm gonna come back and see if I can't add the next step in. So my next goal is in the next hour. Right now in my mind, my next hour, I want to get the enemies moving, get a laser shooting, make it a game, and then the last hour is just polish, making it look nice, adding music, adding sound effects, getting all the little tiny details. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope this was useful for everyone, and I will see you in the next session.